Hello, City Skylines fans. I'm Sockside Up, and welcome back to another episode of Lake Sockside. Last episode, we redid our freeway system, starting to improve the beauty of the town, I guess you could say. Today, we're looking at this area. I've hated it since the day we made it. It's time to fix that. So we start off by demolishing everything. We decided to get rid of this entire ore industry. We're going to recreate it. That's going to be the main feature of this episode. But I wanted to redo this area, at least the street layout of it, of how we want it long term. And then we'll jump into redesigning the ore industry. It's going to be a lot better. Here we're going to add the main road of this area. We're taking it about 24 meters away from the highway. We're using some temporary roads just to align it correctly. You'll see in the aerial view how it does turn out pretty nice by doing this little trick. I wanted to get this basic layout done so that we can move forward and start building plans in my head for this area. We're going to utilize the space a lot better than we did in the past to improve the overall look of Lake Sockside and make me happy with the overall outcome. I'm not sure about the roundabout. We'll see if we keep that long term, but let's press forward. Ore industry. We're going to recreate it. I did a lot of research online of other people's videos and what they've done. I wanted to make a quarry. The quarry is what jumped out to me. It seems to be the best approach for the ore industry. So that's what we're doing here. You can see we're starting to lower the terrain to kind of show that we've dug into the ground and removed material from the earth. So we do a first little road design around there, and then we lower it again. We add another road that's kind of mimicking the existing road. Kind of rinse and repeat, get it all the way around, connect it. Eventually we'll have roads that go up and down these hills. It's a pretty cool design. Again, I got some inspiration from some other YouTubers that play City Skylines. It's the best approach, so that's what we're going with. Hopefully you like my twist on it. Here we're adding in the third layer. I think if I went back, I wouldn't do the third layer. I would have just left it at the second one. I think it turns out okay though. It just kind of doesn't make logical sense to me. Maybe we originally dug down the earth there and then decided to go a little bit deeper, so added in the third road. Kind of the history of the area. In my head, at least that's the way I play. I pretend that these things happened over time and we're just looking at the final product. But here we're adding in the dirt because it blends in with the assets a little bit better than the sand did. Eventually we update all of this to be dirt. I think it turns out pretty cool though. So the idea I went with this design was all the extractor buildings are going to be in this quarry, and then the processing plants and glass production plant is going to be in a different industry area that we're going to get to later. Just wanted to get some of these down to start getting the production back up. And here we're adding in these mines into the mountain. The way I developed this in my head was that there was a certain amount of ground that was approved by the city to allow them to dig down. And then to keep up with the demand of the ore that they needed to extract, they decided to build mines into the mountain so that they could maintain the actual structure of the mountain. At least that's the history I'm creating for the city of Lake Sockside. We're gonna, terraform this mountain, get it where we want it, and make it look like these are blending in. I think it turns out pretty good. It doesn't look too unnatural once we get completely done. This state right here is a little rough, but again, what you see, we're adding in the dirt because I think it looks better. Originally, I thought the sand was going to be a nice look, but for the map theme that we're using, the dirt actually looks better because of it already being attached to those ore assets. I think it turns out good. Let me know what you think. If there's any changes you would have made, I would love to hear them in the comments. But here we're going to add a couple more buildings, and then we're going to move on to the processing plants and get those going and get this industry back up and running and start making a profit. You can see the city is not profitable right now. The main idea we went with here was to build out a separate area for the processing plants so they're away from the extractor buildings, kind of creating a supply chain from, left to right. As you get from the extractor buildings, you're going to move left closer to the highway. And hopefully most of the vehicles just use the cargo train station that we're building now to limit the traffic that's coming in. That's the plan. City Skylines doesn't like to do that all the time, but that's why we're adding this railroad. We're going to get a lot more trains into Lake Sockside in the next few episodes, get that mass transit system going, eliminating some of the traffic. But here you can see we're starting to build some of these processing plants. This separate area is going to be kind of replacing some of that industry that we demolished in the beginning of the episode. We're going to keep pressing forward and keep improving Lake Sockside. We are making this small area pretty dense with a lot of buildings, so I wanted to add a large structure of parking in the center. And again, I love these assets. It makes it real quick and easy and clean parking lots. Also adding in some paths for people to walk around so they don't have to go all the way out to the road. They can actually cut through the middle of this. Also, goodbye Alcatraz. I wanted to throw this in the video. This was a mistake in my mind. It's gone. Moving back, we're gonna do a little bit of detailing. We're jumping a little forward in this build, but I wanted to kind of build this area here as a natural area that had these random rocks thrown into it, and that's kind of why the road layout was created that way. When I make these weird road layouts, I like to build reasons into them, and that's what we're doing there. Adding in some detailing with some bushes and some shrubs and trees, getting the feel of Lake Sockside back into this area. Even though it is kind of a dirty industry area, we still wanted to make it match the rest of the city. So we're adding some greenery and then our fall trees as well to kind of make a nice blend to kind of keep the theme going. We want to keep the theme going in this entire area. That's what we did there. So at this point, we're getting a lot closer to the final product. At this point of the build, I'm kind of going over everything and seeing what we forgot. Here we wanted to terraform this and get these rocks to blend more into the mountain so they look natural. In our minds, there was a lot more of these rocks that have already been removed from the area and used in our ore industry. Again, this isn't a day one ore industry. It's been here for years. That's why it's already deep into the ground. I think it's turning out great. Let me know what you think. I love it. Again, we got this inspiration from a ton of other YouTubers with our own little twist on it. I dig the way it turned out. Here we have the new industry area. It has a lot of the ore. It has a lot of other industry buildings. And we added some leaves. Added in the leaves. The seasons are changing. The fall trees are starting to lose their leaves. Winter is coming. I'm not sure if we'll do a winter episode of this. Maybe we will. We'll see. As we fly over again our new ore industry, I love it. There's some last minute details that I want to add to it, and we're going to do that and show you before we end the episode. Again, let me know what you think. Is this an improvement? Should we have left it the way it was? I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that. Let's add a little bit more detail. I wanted to make these buildings look like they're being used, so I used some decals to add some dirtiness around it. It's not a perfectly clean area. I think that adds a ton of detail. It shows where the cars are pulling in and out, and then also shows some of the extra debris. Those piles aren't going to be perfect like they are in the assets. The vanilla assets are pretty great, but I think that adds a little bit of a nice touch to it. Here's some of that detailing that we did. The forest is coming back. Some of those areas might change. We might add a little more buildings in that area. I don't know. But up here you can see we kind of placed some buildings down just as placeholders to get the city a little bit happier. Next episode, we're going to tackle this area, make it look finished and organized. Right now, it's just chaos. Overall, I'm happy with the way it turned out. A huge improvement. I think the location of this industry makes a lot more sense based on the rest of the city. Adding in a little bit of fall touch to it, so it's not just a dirty, ugly industry. I love it. I'm Socksway Up. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Lake Sockside.